This phone may go flying off on this launch. I short shifted that straight into third. I bet you can probably see that on video, but it wasn't too bad. It spun all 4 tires off the launch right there. That was pretty crazy. It's the first time launching it. This is only on the 93 tune. We're gonna try this one in manual. It kind of wants to get hung up in second gear a little bit. I think if I short shift it into third, I honestly think the time to 60 will be better. About to find out. What's up, guys? So gonna make another quick little video real quick. We just got back from a road trip in the ST, almost 20,000 miles. We're right at 19,000 miles. Gonna go ahead and get an oil change in this thing. So I thought I'd just kind of go over my 20,000 mile recap of this vehicle. Man, every time that you take this thing on a road trip, it just impresses me. I mean, we took it down there on the 93 tune. We went to Dallas, which is about 5 hours away. So I went down there on the 93 tune because I knew it would make it all the way down there on 1 tank of gas, and then I knew they had 93 in Dallas, so we took it on the 93 tune, and it's just an absolute blast to drive. I mean, it was really windy on the way down there and back, which was unfortunate just because it's, you know, kind of having to drive a little bit more, right, because of the wind. But just on the way down there, I was just having a blast in this thing. I mean, 85, 90 miles an hour on cruise. I averaged, like I said, there was a pretty hard wind, but I was going about 85, 90, and then there'd be several times I would give it the sauce on the way down there and back. I wasn't too concerned about gas mileage because, like I said, I knew I would make it down there on 1 tank, and then I would have to fill up with the tank regardless. So I was just having fun with it on the way down there instead of shooting for gas mileage. And it averaged it was like 19.8 or something like that on the way down there. On the way back, it was like 18.7 or something. On the way back, there was a little bit more wind. But so great gas mileage, plenty of room for all of our stuff. Massaging seats, the thing drives itself. I don't recommend this, but you can. I've seen it done. You can get one of the big water bottles, get about a third full with your water, drink it down to about a third. And then you can shove it right here in the bottom corner of the steering wheel, and it makes the ST think that you're holding the steering wheel, so then it actually does fully drive itself. Obviously I don't recommend that because of the fact you should probably hold on to the steering wheel regardless. I don't even know how people trust a Tesla not holding on to the steering wheel, but it's nice to have that in there because it keeps the warning off, and you can just kind of sit back and relax and just pay attention, obviously, but you don't have to have, you don't have to be actually staying in lanes or anything like that. So that's an awesome feature of this car. The other awesome thing, there was a 335i on the way down there. We were doing about 85, 90. He was just kind of tailgating me, we were just driving down there together. I think he was actually going to Fort Worth or Dallas too. We were driving the same route for about 3 hours. And we kind of played a little bit, and I got him laughing because I was just pulling his 335, and it was a newer one. It was probably like a 15 or 16. It was kind of not the newest body styles, but it was the generation before that, and I don't know when that started. But the 335, I mean, the 335 was just not even close to this. I mean, I was pulling them, you know, we would pass cars at 90 miles an hour, and then he would punch it and I would punch it. So after 90, I was just putting cars on him. Wasn't even close. And like, you know, the crazy thing about that is you could add do the E50 tune to this thing and get like another, I think it's like 40 or 50 wheel, and another close to 100 foot-pounds or, well, no, I think it's like, I can't remember honestly. I think it's 40 to 50 wheel and 40 to 50 more foot-pounds of torque on the E50 tune, which is just a flash. And it, you know, takes 6 minutes or something like that. The power that this thing makes is insane, and the turbos aren't huge on this thing, and that's kind of why they get maxed out about that 550-ish range, 530, 550. But I like it because honestly, I think on the E50 tune, this thing has plenty of, you know, juice to it, unless you're like actually trying to race this thing. You know, like drag race it. I don't feel the need to have any more than that. I think that on the E50 tune and the way it sits, I honestly think that it would probably be just as fast as a Trackhawk. I know it would launch better, so I think the 0 to 60 times, you know, there's guys getting 3.7s, 3.8s, where the DA is a little bit better, just on an E50 tune with the intercooler, basically the same mods. So that's just crazy to me. I mean, that's a Trackhawk right there to 60. And how often, realistically, on the street, if you're doing a dig, how often do you get to do anything more than like a 0 to 60 or a 0 to 80 maybe? You know, you're not doing a 0 to 100 at a red light. So I think that's pretty cool. And I do think that I'm just gonna leave this. I don't even leave it turned up very often, and it drives fine on the E50 tune, but I know I could do revisions or even switch to tuners and get more power out of this thing, and I don't even feel like I need it. Whenever I want to take that step, sure. But man, like on the highway, this thing's a beast. The 10 speed is amazing. Everything worked flawlessly. We haven't had a single issue with this car. I was talking to my wife on the way down there. I was like, I really have zero complaints on this car. Like the only complaints that I had on this car, I fixed, with the fact that the ride height, and the wheels being kind of sucked in under it. But that's just, you know, that's just stuff that Ford does for reasons like comfortability and sound and all that stuff. So once I lowered it and put the spacers on it, man, this thing is just, I wish Ford would put a little bit bigger stock exhaust, but you know, it is what it is. Once you fix those things, this thing is just phenomenal. So overall, my 19,000 mile, 20,000 mile review, I would buy this thing 10 times over again. I don't even know, like honestly, my wife wants a Navigator, which is kind of something we're looking at, and they have an Expedition Stealth version 2 that we've kind of been looking at. But man, I don't even want to get rid of this thing. Like honestly, I don't want to upgrade to that higher model vehicle, because you know the size would be great and the motor is still great in those. It has the same motor the Raptors have in it, so that's great. But this thing is so much fun, and if you don't have, you know, we have basically 4 full-size seats in here, so we're going to be able to have, our second kid's on the way in February, so we're going to be able to have 2 car seats right there in the bucket seats and have plenty of room, still have the third row laid down and still have way more room than what a Tahoe would have. So like in my mind, I don't even see a reason that people, you know, like you don't need more space in this unless you're getting like a Yukon XL or a Suburban, you know, that style, or you know, the Escalade, the XLs, the Navigator, the long ones. I forget what they're called, but unless you're needing that much space, there's zero reason to upgrade from this car. I had the weld on the catalytic converters right where it comes down, that elbow that goes back to your flex pipes for your exhaust, that weld right there cracked. all the way around the driver or the passenger side catalytic converter. So that's like actually a known recall from Ford. If you get under there and look at the welds, it's honestly crazy that passes for, I mean, my brother could weld better whenever he was like 8 years old. So that, I mean, that's just crazy that passed. After I got in there and looked at it, I was kind of raised some eyebrows, but it's all right. It's a known recall. Ford will fix it. I didn't have time to fix it. We were going out of town. It cracked and it started rattling my flex pipes, and so I could just hear like a rattling and like a metal on metal squeaky noise. And I was not about to take this thing to Dallas, listen to that the whole way. So I just had one of my buddies, or one of my customers that we insulated his shop. I saw he had a welder. I was like, hey man, you do me a favor, I'll knock off some money off this deal if you just weld up my cats. And he's like, okay. I said, I don't care what it looks like, because I'm eventually gonna get the thin fab downpipes, the high flow cats, I think is what they're called, or what he calls them, for this, just for pure sound. And I do think that it'll help performance a little bit. I did the downpipes on my BMW, and I thought that was the best thing I ever did to that car. So I want to do the downpipes on this, and then maybe switch the tune, maybe not. Honestly, instead of spending money on the tune, I'd rather buy like a cold air intake or something to where I could hear the turbos more. Maybe a blow off valve. That's kind of the direction I'm going. Not necessarily making it faster, but just sounding better, performing a little bit better. With an intake and downpipes, you're going to reduce your turbo lag. You're going to get more of that feedback as far as the sound goes. So, but other than that, I mean, like, just the feature mods, this thing is phenomenal. I would recommend this car to anybody. My buddy asked me literally last night, we were talking about it, and he said, we were talking about the car, and I said, man, I said, this is by far the favorite car I have out of the three. And by the three, I mean this car. I have my Gen 2 Raptor, and my F10 and 5. And this car is by far my favorite, by far the most fun to drive. And I would keep this one over all the rest of them every single time. The Raptor is an amazing vehicle. I'm not bashing on either one of them, but this thing is just phenomenal in so many ways. I've hooked up enough full trailers with it, and it has, honestly, besides the torque, which I know the torque is more on the Raptor than this, not at the wheels, but factory to factory, the Raptor has more torque and stuff. But I'm telling you, this thing feels like it could pull just as much, if not more, than my Raptor now that it's all tuned. I know you obviously shouldn't do that, but I'm just saying, it feels like you're never underpowered in this vehicle. The 10-speed is always in the perfect gear, and if it's not, you can literally sit there and pick the exact RPMs you want at every speed. Because of the 10-speed, you have that availability here with the paddles. Phenomenal car. This thing is lowered, and I was still pulling the trailer with it the other day, and you couldn't even tell that it was lowered. It wasn't sagging, nothing. It, as long as you have a well-balanced trailer, it looked perfect. And it, it's just been great. So I'm gonna get the oil change done. I was just kind of giving you guys an update video. I've been so bad about the videos because we've been so busy. Maybe this winter, with it calmed down a little bit, I can get a few more videos out. I do want to take this to a track in the cooler weather like this. The last time that we ran the 8-second quarter-mile pass, it was before the intercooler, and it was like 85, 90 degrees outside. So the DA was terrible. And it was heat soaked really bad. So I think that it can go back and run like mid-7s probably on an E50 tune, which would be really cool. And I kind of want to do that. So I will update you guys. I appreciate you guys watching the videos. It'd be nice to eventually get, it makes it a little bit easier to dedicate more time to this whenever it starts making money, right? But you don't get that until the watch hours are reached, and I just won't get that until I start really pumping out videos that's better content than just me talking in a car. But I'm just trying to give you guys information on this platform just because it's so good. I mean, my buddy bought the one that was asking me about that last night. He bought an Expedition or an Explorer Limited. It's not the ST, it's just the Limited, and he loves that car. And they came from a BMW, and he loves their Limited. And I was like, man, you need to drive this one to fully understand what this car's about, and you would probably trade in that Limited for an ST, because he's kind of into the cars and stuff like that too. So anyway, just kind of giving you guys an update. Hopefully it sounds okay with the phone behind my head. It's kind of hard. I feel like y'all rather be watching this at a steady frame than me sitting there juggling a phone and stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna get the oil change done. I appreciate you guys again. Till next time.